All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking the Investor Tribe deep dive on evolving your real estate strategy. Now, if you're actively investing right now, you already know the ground beneath us has totally shifted. So we're going to look at the data, the new tactics, and most importantly, the mindset you need to navigate this era using the Investor Tribe's core principles. Let's get into it. Listen, we've got to address the elephant in the room right out of the gate. The easy money flipping days of 2021, yeah, those are officially over. You know, the days where it felt like you could literally throw a dart at the MLS and turn a profit? Relying on that outdated playbook today is just a one-way ticket to burnout. Honestly, if you feel like you're stuck on a hamster wheel fighting for shrinking margins, you're definitely not alone. And the contrast between how things used to be and how they are now is just stark. It's like night and day. The old way of doing things is so isolating and expensive, just endlessly scrolling the MLS, right? Throwing heavy capital at public listings, just hoping to compete. But the new, smarter way? It relies heavily on off-market networking, utilizing creative finance to actually preserve your cash, and tapping into a localized community to get that sweet deal flow. So, here's our agenda for solving your deal flow problem today. 1. The flipping era is over. 2. 3 new creative strategies. 3. Finding off-market gold. 4. Collaboration beats competition. And finally, 5. Relationships over transactions. Okay, part 1. The flipping era is over and adapting to the modern market. Let's really look at the current reality and why relying on public listings is just a losing game at this point. The data from the Investor Tribe analysis is crystal clear on this. Price appreciation is definitely decelerating, and interest rates? Well, they've stabilized right around that historic norm of 6%. Plus, days on market are rising. So if you're a solo flipper just sitting there endlessly refreshing Zillow, you are competing blindly against national hedge funds. And they've got bottomless cash and massive speed advantages. It's a battle you simply aren't going to win doing it the old way. Moving on to part 2, 3 new creative strategies for investing without heavy capital. Because the good news here is that a lack of cash, or even a lack of credit, is no longer a massive barrier if you've got the right knowledge. So you really must master these 3 specific creative strategies to replace that completely outdated buy and hope flipping model. These are the tools that allow savvy investors to find cash flow where everyone else just sees costs. It totally shatters the myth that you need, a perfect credit score and 50 grand sitting in the bank just to get started. First up is the BRRR method: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. This strategy lets you systematically build a rental portfolio while continually recycling your initial capital. But, and this is a big but highlighted in the source material, you can't just guess your way through this. Executing a successful BRRR requires you to tap into a network of preferred, really reliable vendors. You also have to use strict financial calculators to make sure your rehab costs and your refinance margins actually allow you to pull that capital back out. Next, we've got creative financing. This is huge. Techniques like seller finance or subject-to deals allow you to negotiate directly with the property owner, meaning you bypass the banks entirely. Think about this. With subject-to, you can literally take over a seller's old 3% interest rate in today's 6% market. You're solving their immediate problem, and in return, you secure a highly profitable asset without a credit check or some massive down payment. It's a win-win. And number 3, joint venture or JV partnerships. This basically proves that if you can find a solid off-market deal, there is always someone in a good community willing to fund it. It's the perfect marriage of resources. It pairs the hustle, the person out there driving for dollars or making the cold calls, with a capital partner who wants the returns but just frankly lacks the time to source those leads themselves. All right, part 3, finding off-market gold through a local networking action plan. Because obviously the big question is, how do you actually find these hidden gems so you can use these strategies? The source material breaks this down into a really brilliant 90-day broke investor blueprint. It gives you these highly actionable, time-bound steps to go from zero to locking up a deal. In weeks 1 and 2, you learn the lingo and pick your path. Then, notice how weeks 3 through 6 are entirely dedicated to building your network and lead sources. That's because deal flow doesn't just magically appear, it has to be cultivated. By weeks 7 through 10, you're actively hunting to lock up your first off-market opportunity. And then, bam, weeks 11 and 12, you're leveraging that local network to close, assign, or fund it. Because at the end of the day, local, boots-on-the-ground knowledge will always beat out an algorithm. Period. When you have a structured ecosystem where serious investors, Title companies, contractors, and lenders are all actively communicating and sharing their haves and wants. It creates this massive, massive pipeline. This interconnected web generates genuine, localized off-market opportunities that public Zillow scrolling buyers are never even going to see. Which brings us to part 4. Collaboration beats competition and adopting the tribal laws. To truly succeed in this kind of localized ecosystem, your mindset has to completely shift. This brings us to the core laws of the tribe, and it starts with their founding motto: wealth is work. The grind creates the gain. I love this, because the sources explicitly reject the idea of easy money. There are no magical gurus coming to save you here. Consistent, intelligent effort, we're talking focus, sweat, sacrifice, and using proven systems, that is the true foundation of wealth. Building right off of that is the principle that collaboration beats competition. True abundance is created by sharing knowledge, sharing vendors, and sharing opportunities with others. That old school mindset of hoarding your secrets or, trying to tear other people down, it simply isolates you. When one person in a highly networked group wins and they actually teach the others exactly how they did it, the entire group levels up. Because ultimately, deal flow is the lifeblood of real estate. Opportunities fuel everyone. When you share your wins and you're actively bringing leads to the table during your local marketplace meetups, you are literally feeding the very pipeline that keeps everyone, including yourself, out of that miserable 9-to-5 grind. Loyalty creates opportunity. Finally, part 5, relationships over transactions and playing the long game. This right here is the ultimate secret of modern investing. Deals come and go, right? But relationships compound. Your true competitive advantage is not some clever marketing mailer. It is building a trusted, localized network of investor-friendly agents, reliable lenders, and proven contractors. When you prioritize building that trust over just closing a single one-off contract, you ensure a steady, reliable flow of work and funding for years and years to come. And this quote from the Investor Tribe's core values just perfectly captures the essence of what we've been talking about today. Who you build with is just as important as what you build. By replacing the highly transactional solo grind with a true community-first approach, you drastically shorten your learning curve. You stop guessing, you start executing, and you multiply your success by leveraging the shared experience of the people around you. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question to chew on. Who are you building your wealth with? Are you still trying to grind it out entirely alone in a market that basically demands collaboration? Or are you ready to stop endlessly searching, start closing, and actually find your tribe? Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.